Hey everybody. So for this week, we are going to be looking at something called the Green Initiative. It's another little layer to our evolution of cities. Now, if you recall, we started with talking about how the English settlers brought over with them their culture, and their culture influenced how they were going to design their city. And their settlements were looking very different compared to the Native American settlements that were on the same land. Okay, they had the same resources, but they looked very differently. All right, and then we started to talk about how when more people, more European settlers came over to the New World, to what will eventually be called the United States of America, um, there were problems that were created due to overpopulation, and we saw that with the America, the Story of Us cities video. We saw that with Jacob Reese. And people were thinking of ways in which to kind of solve this problem of overcrowding. Steel. Steel was a huge innovation that allowed for the building, for creating skyscrapers. So we could, we didn't have enough room to build out. So with steel, we're now building up. We can fit a lot more people in an area. We also started thinking about how can we put parks in this green space in these cities so that it's not just concrete and buildings and dirt and noise pollution. How can we provide some greenery to kind of ease the mind, maybe put in a park to, de-stress some people and things like that. All right, and now we're going to be taking a look at the way buildings and cities are being designed today, and it's we are architects today are really big on what's known as sustainable architecture and the Green Initiative. And the Green Initiative is something that not only do architects participate in, but it's what we as individuals should participate in. All right. So that's what this week is going to be all about. All right. So for today, you're going to open up a PowerPoint and you are going to be, you're going to take a little quiz on Google Forms like you have been, based off of what is here. Now, this is the PowerPoint that I have right here. You need to hit present to view it. Okay. If you don't, if you just kind of look through here, well, then there's all this like, jumbled up stuff that doesn't make any sense. It's all cluttered. But if you do it in the present format, all this would make sense to you. It'd be displayed in a different way. So do not just click on the slide. Okay, none of that will make sense. What you need to do is go here to the very front slide and hit present. All right, now I'm no longer on the screen. All you should see is the slide right here. All right, and the idea behind this is what I want you to be thinking about over the course of the next couple of days is what will our cities look like in the future? What are we striving for? Okay, and like I said, architects today are using what's called a sustainable architecture. Remember, sustainability is being able to provide for yourself without really the help of other people, um, and providing yourself very successfully. All right. And the Green Initiative kind of adds into the idea of sustainability. So each slide starts off with a question. Why are cities today not sustainable? Why are cities not 100% sustainable today? All right. And you'll go through the slide. You'll hit the mouse to let yourself go through. There's 4 general reasons: overcrowding, pollution, transportation, and not enough food. All right, that's why cities today are not 100% sustainable. And then you'll go through some pictures. So the picture we have on the screen right now is for overcrowding. This is of Times Square when coronavirus is done, and we're able to go back into the world. Times Square will look like this again. Okay, pollution. All this stuff makes it so that we are not sustainable. Transportation. Okay, all the pollution in the air, the noise pollution, and everything like that, that transportation creates, um, makes it so we're not sustainable. And then there are some areas where there is not enough food. It seems crazy, since we live in an area that is Um, it's not really a shortage of grocery stores around. There are certain cities, certain towns that don't have a grocery store, that may only have one for the entire town. So that can be an issue. So you go through that. All right, and this is one of those slides I was talking about before we started. That if you just looked at the slide itself, you wouldn't be able to see what's on the screen because there's so much stuff. So you have to put it in this present form. So what is the Green Initiative? Okay. Hey, there's me. Green Initiative is when individuals or organizations do their part to save the earth. All right. So you may be thinking, why do we need to save the earth? All right. That's where you need to click this. Click on video camera to find out. So you click on this, and then you would watch this video. All right. Once you watch the video, you would hit back. Okay. You go back to that slide you're just at. All right. And at this point, since you already watched the video, you would just, find an open space, like you see where my mouse is, and hit next. How can I participate in the Green Initiative? And a whole bunch of things will come up. I want you to think about what else you can do. You can see how some of these things are, very simple things to participate in the Green Initiative. What are some other simple things that you can do to participate in the Green Initiative? I want you to think about that for a little bit. Now, all these questions that we see on the top of the slides are going to be questions on these Google Forms, the Google Form quiz. Okay. What are some green ideas for green cities that drive architects' decisions? Okay. And we have all of these little, principles. Conserve resources, reduce trash, grow or make the things you need, use alternative energy sources, and respect the natural world. All right. These are all ideas, things that architects today want to, have within their cities. They want to create buildings that reduce trash, that conserve energy. They want to respect the natural world and kind of incorporate trees and grass and stuff within within their city. All right. What are some cool design architects and designers are currently creating? Then there's two big topics that are out there today: green roofs and vertical farming. All right. So you want to click on these little play buttons to see what a green roof is and to see what they do. So if I click on Chicago, in Chicago there are a lot of green roofs, and this is one of them. Chicago City Hall green roof helps cool the building, reduce energy costs, minimize water runoff, and improve air quality. All right. So what you see here, see these green roofs, they kind of act as like a little a thermos. If you put hot chocolate in a thermos, it's going to stay hot. If you put cold water or iced tea in a thermos, it's going to stay cold. Okay. So this green roof does the exact same thing. So the Chicago City Hall may put on their heat for a little bit and then turn it off. And this green roof will kind of allow it to stay at that temperature that they want it to be in. And the same thing, if it's too hot, they can put the air on for a little bit and then turn that off, and they will use this green roof as kind of a thermos to keep it at that temperature they want it to be. All right, minimize water runoff. Now, what you don't see here is underneath these little patches of grass we have here are grates. All right, and what happens is when it rains on this grass. The grass then drips off the water into these grates. The grates then kind of filter off into the building and go through a system. And then eventually this water will kind of be able to be used throughout the building, whether or not for like the bathroom or a sink or something like that. All right, so then you go back, you can check out, all right, what are they doing in Japan? Okay, this is a building in Japan. Okay, remember those design principles on the previous slide? They are including nature and the natural world in their designs. They want to have all these plants and these species of animals, throughout the city. All right, and Boston. So a couple years ago, me and my wife went to Boston for a weekend, and we did all this touristy stuff, and we I'm a big baseball fan, so I went to Fenway Park where the Boston Red Sox play. It's one of the oldest baseball fields in America. Now, we went there to learn about the Red Sox and history of the Red Sox. What we didn't expect to see was this. So, all throughout Fenway Park on the roofs are these little gardens. And these gardens grow the crops for a lot of the food that's brought to the concession stand. So, ketchup, they grow the tomatoes there that they will use for the ketchup. They grow pickles, they grow onions and things like that, all this different stuff, lettuce that they then bring to the concession stands. All right, now vertical farming is something different other than these green roofs. Now, this is pretty cool. All right, so think about the way farms are set up today. If you live in a city, you are not near a farm. Farms need to have open land and, enough room to grow all their crops. All right, in a city, you have building on top of building on top of building. So, what these vertical farms are trying to do is now that we have steel because of Andrew Carnegie, we can build up. So, each level of a skyscraper will be a different ecosystem for a crop. So, you can see here on this level will be peppers. On this level will be cabbage. Say that there's a level for, rice. Rice grows in a kind of a swampy-like area. So they'll have an area that is, high humidity for because that's the ecosystem for rice. Okay, whereas if they have peaches, they don't need to be in like a humid area to grow. So the temperature will be a little bit different. And these are all the benefits for it. Local transportation costs. Think about, what it takes from that crop, that those peaches that grow on that peach tree to get from that tree to your plate, to get to your kitchen, to get to your mouth. It needs to, be harvested by the farmer. It will then be put on a truck that will then go, miles upon miles and miles to go to the grocery store. All right. Those grocery store workers will then put them on the shelves where your parents will go and they'll pick up these crops that they then will drive home. So there's a lot of transportation that's involved. If these vertical farms are there, you minimize a lot of that. These crops are now in that city. You don't have to use those big trucking companies to bring the crops to the city from the farm because the crops are already in the farm. Crops are already in the city. All right. So you minimize a lot of that. Disease-free food. There's no need for as many pesticides and things like that keep certain bugs away, that keep them fresher longer and things like that because, well, you can control the environment here. You don't need to have you can create an environment in this vertical farm that doesn't have these insects and stuff that may, give disease to the food and things like that. So once you do that, this is the last slide here. Once you review everything through here, again, okay, behind me, if you haven't noticed already, if any of you guys are Van Gogh fans, Starry Night, okay, this is a little spin-off of that, but it's Philadelphia with Starry Night, like kind of like going across the skyline of Philadelphia. Once you review this PowerPoint, you would open up this, where you have done this before. Okay, put your name in, and then go through the questions here. We have some multiple choice questions. What is the Green Initiative? Okay, that is in that slide. What does the Green Initiative try to help to prevent or solve? Okay, that's in the slides. What is global warming? That's in the slides. How can you, a 7th grader, participate in the Green Initiative? That's in the slides. What are some green ideas that guide architects' decisions when they design a city? That's in the slides. Describe what a green roof is and the benefits of having them in a city plan. We just went over a couple of them. Write me an answer. Describe what a vertical farming is and the benefits of having them in a city. Okay, what do you think? Okay, what is it? That's all in the slides. Now, these are short answer questions. That does not mean that they are one-word answers. That doesn't mean that they're two-word answers. It should be multiple sentences to completely convey your thought. That's where a lot of you are losing some points is you're not really illustrating what you know. You're just putting one-word answers there, and I can't feed off of that. In a classroom, okay, it's a little bit different where we can have that conversation back and forth. I can stem questions off of what you said. Here, you need to really put down what you are thinking. Okay, it needs to be a little bit more in depth. Okay, that's the only way that you are going to get the top, the full credit for it is by really conveying your thought and what's in your brain. And I don't know is not a sufficient answer. I want you to put in some time here. I mean, I'm not expecting you guys to spend hours on the stuff, but within 25 minutes, you should be able to review those slides, that PowerPoint, and answer these questions in detail. Okay. Once you are done, you are going to hit submit, and you then will have been introduced to the Green Initiative, and you are done for day one. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow.